In this review, I'll be talking about the new Amazon exclusive Karate Kid Ultimate 4K collection. I'll cover some of the new features and also compare the picture quality, including the next Karate Kid and the 2010 remake. And there are some things I didn't like about this set, and I'm going to break down each release individually. So let's start with the first movie. And this package has the same version that was on the 40th anniversary 4K release, which added the Cobra Kai creators commentary and the dailies. And if you didn't pick that one up yet, here's a sample of what's on it.
Stand still over here, please.
Big camera mark.
I hear you jumped some of my students last night.
Baloney. Okay.
And if you haven't already seen this on 4K, it's a huge upgrade over the old Blu-ray. So here you can see some of the examples of the HDR brightness and where the picture is going to pop a lot more than the Blu-ray. And the contrast and sharpness is excellent. You can see the detail here even before I zoom in. Look at all that extra detail you get. I do think there's too many 5-star ratings being given out for a lot of these 4K Blu-rays, but I'm only giving out 5 stars if it looks and sounds incredible. And this does look and sound great. It's a 5-star for most people. You've got a classic movie with an almost perfect story. You've got 2 commentaries and a lot of deleted scenes, Dolby Vision, Dolby Atmos. So this is an excellent 4K. And part 2 carries over the 2021 release, but adds in some more dailies. So here's a quick sample of that.
Thank you.
I have been sent to get you.
Tell Uncle, I am farmer, not fighter.
Yeah, so what they added was pretty weak. But if you missed the 2021 release, the new commentary they added for that one was really good, and here's a quick sample of it in case you missed it.
And I remember, I think part of the Columbia Pictures swag or gift bag that I got was a pair of plastic hashi or chopsticks, sorry,
Right.
to catch the fly. To catch the fly.
And overall, I think the second movie looks a little better than the first, but I don't know, maybe it just looks better because it was filmed in Hawaii. And like the first movie, there's a huge upgrade over the Blu-ray. I mean, just look at this detail. So I'm going to give this the same score as the first movie. They both look great, they both sound great, they both have commentaries, and they both have a great storyline. And the first release of the third movie had no extras, but this time they've added a decent amount of content, and here's a sample of what you can expect from the dailies.
Do you fight as hard as you negotiate?
Harder.
All right. You got your 50%. But you have to teach 5 classes a week for me.
And I get that in writing?
First thing tomorrow morning. You fight as hard as you negotiate?
Harder.
You got your 50%.
And I get that in writing.
By noon today.
And the entire animated series is here. It is an SD, but it looks better than the typical DVD because there's less compression on the 4K. And I did like that they added chapter marks on each episode where the commercial breaks would have been. So that way you're not just skipping episodes. And this is much like the second movie where I think it just looks slightly better than the first one. So we keep getting a little better each time. And you can see the detail level on this is excellent. Unfortunately, there's no commentary, and I would have liked to have seen more with Thomas Ian Griffith, considering the movie would be almost unwatchable if not for his performance, and the fact that the last half of the series was literally built on the foundation of his character and the storyline from this movie. So I think they kind of dropped the ball here by not getting an interview or something from him. And I think the fourth movie was going to be the biggest draw for a lot of people considering this set because it wasn't available the last time around. And unfortunately it is pretty light in the extras, but there is one interesting deleted scene that gives more context to the storyline with the monks, and they probably should have left it in. Here's a quick sample of it.
This is an old Medal of Honor like they gave my grandfather. Look at this picture.
Medal belonged to Abbott. He killed many enemies, more than anyone else.
You're kidding. You wouldn't kill a flea.
Hey, because he discovered inner peace, respect for all life, has been great lesson to Miyagi.
But of course the biggest reason for getting this is the huge upgrade in picture and sound over the old Blu-ray. And just like the first three, there's a huge difference in detail going from the Blu-ray to the 4K. And you can see here there's a really fine layer of film grain and lots of detail. And Sony's track record's always been excellent doing these restorations, so you'd have to look really hard to try to find a speck of dirt here. It's pretty much flawless. On a side note, Sony did include a remastered Blu-ray of this. The comparison shots here are from the old Choice Collection Blu-ray, but in this set you get a remastered Blu-ray, so if you are one of those people that likes to flip around to see the differences, you might not see a big difference between the Blu-ray and the 4K in this set because they are both remastered. But this new 4K is way better than the old Blu-ray, and some people might have even still been watching that Mill Creek double feature Blu-ray, which was even worse than the Choice Collection Blu-ray, so this is a huge step up. And you can see the brightness levels from HDR, so this does have a nice crisp look to it, and it's not too dark in Dolby Vision. And the new Atmos soundtrack is great too. There's a lot of fun scenes that utilize the overhead effects, and there's almost always something going on in the surrounds. So I think this one looks and sounds consistent with the first three movies on 4K. So I'm going to give the same score for audio and video, which is basically a 5-star for most people, but again, I hold back 5 stars for the very best. That said, the extras are a little light on this release, and I think the story for this one has a lot of that teenage martial arts goofiness that we saw a lot of in the 90s, so if you like that sort of thing, you'll probably like this one too. And this is the one I thought was going to be interesting because they already did a 4K remastered Blu-ray. They did add a lot of deleted scenes, and here's a quick sample of that.
You must empty my clear box.
This is my music. I need this.
Xiaojui, you must learn the difference between wanting something and needing something. Need air, need water. Only one. Boom boom pow. Black Eyed Peas.
So like I said, this was available in a 4K remastered Blu-ray, and also I think the digital 4K version's been around for a while too. But it was shot on film, so there is a little bit of room for improvement. So you can see a little bit of extra detail here. But the Blu-ray still looks good, so the biggest difference between the Blu-ray and the 4K is going to be the HDR, and the contrast here is a little bit better, and of course you can't really see all of that here with the tone map screenshots, but it does look a lot more saturated in person. And in these examples you can see where the HDR is going to make it pop more, so this does look really good. And I did think that the Atmos was a little disappointing on this one. There's really not a lot of use of overhead, and it's really not that much better than the 5.1 that was already on the old Blu-ray. So this kind of ends the streak in audio that we had going, but I think the picture's still at a premium level, and I think this remake shows just how good the original concept was, that you can move the parts around and it still works. The extras are pretty good considering you get a lot of deleted scenes with this new release, and the old extras are still included on the Blu-ray. And lastly, we have the new movie, which should look and sound amazing, but there's a few things I didn't like about it. And the extras on this are on the Blu-ray, not the 4K, which I think is standard now for most Sony 4K theatrical releases, and I can speculate that they're probably trying to combat the people who are buying the 4K and flipping the Blu-ray, but who knows. With this one it doesn't really matter because most of the extras are crap anyway, and the only extras really worth talking about are the deleted scenes. Here's a quick sample.
Last parts of the city that hasn't been turned into condos for rich hedge fund dudes.
Yeah, Beijing's the same way. Just everything keeps getting bigger and taller and shinier.
The rest of the extras are just snippets of crap, pretty much stuff you'd expect to see put out for free to promote the movie. And this was shot digitally at 4.5K, and the grain has been added in, so there's almost no difference in detail level between the 4K and the Blu-ray once you factor in the upscaling of most modern 4K TVs or Blu-ray players. So it's really up to the HDR to make the picture look sharper.
Can I help you?
Yeah. Do you guys have, like a stuffed crust?
And unfortunately with this one, as you can see here, the HDR brightness is pretty much non-existent. And I think a lot of this was shot on a soundstage, so I don't know if this is just how they lit it or if they toned it down in post-production, but whatever they did, it doesn't really look like they utilized HDR that much to boost the contrast. So really it looks about the same as the Blu-ray. And the overall look to it's in line with most modern movies, you know, where a lot of the interior scenes have that low contrast, soft lit look, like it has a lot of color but it's not that vibrant. And I was even tempted to knock this a point below the other 5 movies just because of the lack of good HDR. But I resisted because I can't really say it doesn't look good. I mean, it still looks totally fine, it just doesn't look spectacular, and most people could probably swap in the Blu-ray and never even see the difference. And the other thing is, the Atmos soundtrack is just kind of okay. There's still a lot going on in the surrounds, but like the Karate Kid 2010, it rarely uses the overhead speakers. In fact, there's one scene where they're fighting in an alley, I think it's like 30 minutes in, and the music becomes so clear overhead, I was like, wow, some overhead speakers are working. You know, like they were so quiet up to that point that you got used to them not being there, and then all of a sudden there's music from the soundtrack playing overhead. And obviously we can argue that the content doesn't need it, but this is definitely not something that I think is going to sell a lot of Atmos systems, and you're not missing much by listening to it in 5.1. Though I'm willing to bet this is going to be a 5-star rating just about anywhere you look, which is another reason why I refuse to hand out 5 stars so easily. So I think with this one, the picture is still perfectly fine. Great quality for the majority of people, but I think it could have been a 5-star if they had just pushed the HDR more, and the sound's probably completely satisfying for most people, but it's not something that will blow you away if you're used to listening to some of the better Atmos soundtracks. The special features are at the bare minimum for a recent theatrical release, and the movie itself is geared more towards the Marvel multiverse crowd. There's basically no reason for Ralph Macchio to be in this movie given the storyline, and they would have been way better off trying to capture some of the magic of Cobra Kai instead. So here's a recap of all 6 movies and the overall rating for this set if you're interested in picking it up. And I think overall you're still getting a lot of content on the first 5 movies that you can't get anywhere else. The only 2 that are available individually are the Karate Kid 40th Anniversary 4K and Karate Kid Legends. And even with streaming, it looks like Sony might be holding back 4K and Atmos with some of these. So if you want it all, the commentaries, the best audio, you're going to have to buy this set. Anyway, let me know in the comments whether you agree with me or not.